Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Bam Adebayo nearly lifts Heat in upset over Cavs, but one player dragged them down. Down 3 starters, the Miami Heat went into Cleveland with the popular opinion being that they won't be competitive. Instead, Miami gave the Cavaliers all they could handle as they were led by their captain, Bam Adebayo, who had a season-high 34 points. The Heat held a 7-point lead with a little over 6 minutes to go, but the offense dried up at the worst time. This ended up leading to a Cleveland rally and the Heat ultimately falling to the Cavaliers 112-107 Wednesday night at Rocket Arena. Adebayo came out of the gate guns blazing and made it a point to attack and get shots up early. In the first quarter, Adebayo scored 8 points, and the momentum rolled over as the game progressed, forcing the Cavaliers to send more help to guard him. As Adebayo began to see more bodies, he displayed his patience and dissected the Cavaliers' defense with his passing. A prime example is in the third quarter, Adebayo had a mismatch with Darius Garland on him. Instead of rushing into a bad shot, he waited for a second defender to come help. Once Jarrett Allen committed, Adebayo found Kevin Love for a wide-open corner 3. When it came to scoring, Adebayo provided the Heat with key relief buckets to maintain their lead in the fourth quarter. His most impressive make of the night was against Evan Mobley, as Adebayo hit a tough contested mid-range over Mobley with the shot clock winding down. There was no screen set or any action ran, Adebayo just went right at Mobley and hit a big bucket. Adebayo continued to respond in key moments, as his next make was from beyond the arc to give Miami a 5-point lead. You can't ask for a better performance from Adebayo. Miami went against the best team in the association, and he was the best player on the court by far. A key reason why the Heat lost was receiving no offensive production from Terry Rozier, who missed all of his second-half shots, including back-to-back three-pointers, with one resulting in an airball. It was also very questionable to see Davion Mitchell check in the fourth quarter with under 2 minutes to go, knowing that the Heat had a lead and needed stops. For the most part, each time the Heat's best players have had monster performances, the games mainly result in heartbreaking losses. But Wednesday night's loss might sting the most given how close they were in beating a juggernaut on the road being down key players. The players Heat fans should be eyeing if team has 1 or 2 first-round picks in June. The Heat won't know until mid-April at the earliest, and mid-May at the latest, whether it will have 1 or 2 picks in the first round of June's NBA draft. But if the Heat ends up with 1 or 2 picks, they likely will be attractive ones, one in the lottery and another likely anywhere from 11 to the low 20s. The Heat will keep its own pick, meaning a top 14 selection, only if it misses the playoffs. It will send the pick to Oklahoma City otherwise. In order to keep its 2025 first-round pick, Miami likely would need to be eliminated in the play-in round by Orlando, Atlanta, or Chicago. The Heat will receive Golden State's first-round pick this year if it falls between 11 and 30. That seems increasingly likely, with the Warriors playing well recently and moving to 6th in the West, Phoenix struggling and Dallas' chances diminishing amid Kyrie Irving's season-ending ACL injury. Golden State's pick likely will be in the 17 to 22 range if it makes the playoffs, and would be no worse than 14th otherwise. If the Warriors' pick falls in the top 10 this year and next year, Miami would get the Warriors' first-rounder in 2027. Should Miami end up with a pick or 2, the encouraging news is this is considered one of the best drafts in years, headlined by consensus top pick forward Cooper Flagg of Duke, with Rutgers teammates and wing players Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey, Baylor shooting guard VJ Edgecombe, Duke defensive-minded center Common Maluak and Illinois point guard Kaspars Jakušionis also considered top half of the lottery talents, with more than 3 months of evaluation still remaining. The cautionary warning is the first round might have only 3 natural point guards currently playing college basketball, and all of them have been inconsistent shooting threes. And overall, many of the top 20 caliber players are unpolished prospects who will be drafted more for potential than production. NBA executives tell us they are excited about not only the star power at the top but also the overall depth, ESPN NBA draft expert Jonathan Givony wrote recently, noting as many as 9 international players could be drafted in the first round. If you're a Heat fan who doesn't typically pay attention to college basketball until March, here's a look at players to keep an eye on during conference tournaments and the NCAA tournament, with all projected by ESPN in the 6 to 22 range at this early stage. Black small square Duke wing player Con Newpel, the 6'6" small forward/shooting guard, is averaging 13.6 points and shooting 39.5% on threes in 30 starts. It remains to be seen whether he slips past the top 10. He's an underrated passer, ESPN's Jeremy Woo said. Part of the appeal with Newpel is his near-universal fit as an off-ball scorer. Black small square Oklahoma point guard Jeremiah Fears, on the plus side, the 6'4" freshman is a skilled playmaker and scorer, 15.9 points per game, who could be in play in the 10 to 15 range. But his three-point shooting isn't very good, 27.1%, his assist-to-turnover ratio is subpar, 4.1 to 3.6, and his defense remains a work in progress. What makes Fears special, Givony said, is the way he handles the ball, gets to spots on the floor out of pick-and-rolls, passes, draws fouls and scores in a variety of ways. Black small square Connecticut swingman Liam McNeely, the 6'7" shooting guard/small forward, missed 5 weeks with an ankle injury but is shooting 35.5 on threes and averaging 15.3 points and 6.3 rebounds. McNeely's size, shot-making prowess, feel for the game and toughness are all important attributes that NBA teams value at the wing position, Givony said. Black small square South Carolina power forward/center Colin Murray Boyles, he's Givony's early pick to Miami at 18. Givony notes the 6'7" Murray Boyles' feel for the game and defensive versatility have been on full display in a Draymond Green-type role for South Carolina. He's averaging 16.8 points and shooting 59.4% from the field, best in the Southeastern Conference, but is just 7 for 27 on threes. Black small square Texas shooting guard Trey Johnson, the 6'6" Johnson, who's just 18, leads the SEC in scoring at 20.6 per game and shoots 39% on threes. Though he's 6'6", he isn't very good defensively and his playmaking is pedestrian, 2.6 assists, 1.8 turnovers. His efficiency struggles and lackluster defense makes him an acquired taste for some NBA teams who have questions about his capacity for driving winning at the next level, Givony said. Another NBA insider claims Kevin Durant will get traded this summer. It's becoming increasingly clear that Kevin Durant will be playing for another team next season, as another NBA insider has reported that the Phoenix Suns will trade Durant this summer. According to ESPN's Shams Charania, there will be real changes to the Suns' roster this summer and that likely starts with Kevin Durant. This report comes just says after ESPN's Brian Windhorst reported that all parties are crystal clear on Durant getting traded to a contender this summer. Charania added during a Sunday appearance that the Suns and Durant will work together on a trade to a contender and that nearly half a dozen teams could get in the mix. I would expect 4 to 6 contending teams with some serious involvement in Durant, added Charania. At 36, Durant is still one of the league's premier players. He is averaging 26.7 points on 53% shooting, 6 rebounds, and 4.3 assists this season. He will enter the final season of a 4-year, $194 million contract next season and will be eligible to sign an extension this summer. That gives him leverage in potential trade talks and the chance to potentially choose his next destination. The Miami Heat should be one of the teams that call Phoenix about Durant. He would give the Heat their best number 1 scoring option since LeBron James left in 2014. The Heat and Suns reportedly discussed a potential Durant deal before last month's deadline, but talks never progressed because the Heat and Suns were far apart on a deal. but if Durant decides he wants to end his career in Miami, he could steer himself in that direction. And you, fan? What do you think about the situation of Kevin Durant? Write to us in the comments.